Hello, welcome to An Abundance of Books. My name is Julia, and we've got a very special guest today. Today I am doing a version of Chandler's video, If I Could Only Keep 20 Books. Wow, I really should have written down what it's called. So we're going to be doing that today, but also sort of in honor of Chandler. We have a new kitty. This is her cinematic debut, I assume. I don't know where she came from, but this is Fiona. And she's precious and she will be annoying us for the rest of this video. So let's go ahead and get started. I noticed with Chandler's video, most of the picks were sentimental in nature. I don't necessarily have that. I don't have a ton of like childhood books. So mostly these are just going to be my most beautiful and most favorite books. But there is one exception to that, and that is the entire Chronicles of Narnia box set that I have. This is the version that I read when I was a kid, and it's very special to me. They're absolutely falling apart. If I take one out, I'm not sure they would be able to get back in, but like, these are the covers that I associate with this, so this is my one sentimental pick. And the rest of the books are just kind of strewn around me, so let's figure them out. Actually, let's do this one because this was one of the easiest ones. Chandler also had a rule that you can only pick one book by an author, which I think I've stuck to. But I have two beautiful editions of T.J. Klune books, and I ended up picking A House in the Cerulean Sea. I think technically I like Under the Whispering Door better, but this has more rereadability. It is also the very special Illumicrate edition with sprayed edges and this beautiful artwork under, and I need it. Next, we're going with a little bit of a cheater answer, but it is Books of Blood by Clive Barker. I have read the first third of this book. This is a 3-volume bind-up, so technically cheating, but I also think that if I only have 20 books to read for the rest of my life, short stories actually might be a really good thing for that. This is a collection of horror stories and really impressive writing that I feel like I would get something new out of every time. Next up is my favorite book of last year, Comfort Me with Apples. I absolutely love this. It's itty bitty, but it is very textually rich, and there's a lot of like supplementary stuff that you can do with this book. I feel like there's clues littered throughout, as well as some beautiful writing. Let's switch over to a non-fiction pick. I have How to Be Perfect by Michael Schur. This is basically Philosophy 101, something that I really enjoy coming back to, and I think that it's just excellently done. It's very thought-provoking, it's very easy to read, and I think if I only have 20 books, I am doing a lot of self-improvement in that time, so this is good for that. Next, I have The Long Way to the Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is a space opera type thing, and this is just such an excellent book. It paints such a rich world with all of these different aliens, just like you must be from outer space. This rich world and these complex dynamics between everybody, and I just think that it's something really special. Let's do a bunch of the thrillers that I have at once. Thrillers do feel like a weird pick because you know the ending, especially like most of these have twists. So I think that maybe that would lessen the impact, but you can also go back and look for all of the clues that you missed. First up for that is Behind Her Eyes, a very obvious pick. This one, as soon as you finish it, you want to start back from the beginning, and so I will have the opportunity to do that. This is a domestic thriller that really goes off the rails. Then I have The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. This is about a nanny who is babysitting these very rich family in the Scottish Highlands, and spooky stuff starts happening. This, I think, is just such an excellent writing in it too. This is also all one letter from the main character, which I think is really interesting, but it's also just got great atmosphere, and another thing you can pick up on all the clues that you missed the first time. Speaking of clues you missed the first time, The Golden Couple by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I have all of their books that I enjoy, and I decided on this one because I think that it's just the most fun, especially in terms of reread. There's a lot going on in this. You've got multiple POVs from very different women, and I really enjoyed it. This is another domestic thriller about this couple and their therapist. Then we have The Blinds by Adam Sternberg, one of my favorite books of all time. I just recently reread it, and I could reread it again in a heartbeat. This is about a town where everyone has their memory wiped instead of going to prison, and then spooky stuff starts happening. I just think that it's so much fun. There's so many characters in this that are really well described, but like I think you could really dig into on subsequent reads. The last thriller that I have, I feel like I'm debating now that I'm holding it, but I think it could be a good pick, is Dark Matter by Billy Crouch. The reason that I think this is not a good pick is because it's very slow to start, but if you want attention, you have to come here. But I think that this creates such a rich world that is really interesting. This is about... what is this about? Like, I know what it's about, but what does the book pitch itself as? He's woken up in a life that's not his life, and his wife is not his wife, and his son is not his son. Excellent. Let's do our last nonfiction, is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This is a collection of short essays. There's like 30 of them in here. Ooh, maybe more. And it's just John Green musing about life, and I think that they're really thoughtful and impactful, and for being so short, I think that this is just incredible. This is also a signed copy. I think this is my only signed one. Cerulean Sea might be signed too, but this is a very special book to me, and I would be happy to reread it. You want to pick the next book? No? No, let's not go up there. Let's not go on the bookshelf. All right, next up, I have The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. This is a historical fiction fantasy heist book. What are you doing? You're just eating my hair. Okay. And I love it a lot. Again, rich world building. I'm sensing a theme here. And a dynamic cast of characters that I love very much. No, not up there. Go down. Go down. Please go down. She does that because she knows it's hard for me to get her off. Okay, more world building. Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Just one of the best books that I've ever read. It follows genetically enhanced spiders through the generations as they evolve, and I think that the writing in it is just so impeccable, and this is one I also really want to reread, so it's a good contender for this. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. So math check out? It does. Let's do my romance, and then we'll end it with like sad books. Of course, I had to pick The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I debated, the other book in this series is called The Bride Test, and I do really love that one, but I think this one connects with me more. The main character, Stella, feels very much in line with me, and this is a romance about a girl with autism, or Asperger's it says on here, and she's hired a male escort to teach her about dating and stuff. It's one of my favorite books. I love Helen Hoang so much, and I couldn't imagine not picking one of her books. My other romance is no surprise. It's Ice Planet Barbarians, because I'm special. This is about a bunch of women who get kidnapped and dropped off on this alien planet, and they have to hang out with these blue boys in order to survive and stuff, and it's a romance. But I think that the world building in this is just so fun. It's really funny, and lots of sexy times, and also this cover is beautiful. Next up, I have Never Rolled Wake by Marisha Pessel. This is about a bunch of friends who get stuck in a time loop, basically, but it's really interesting world building. I need to find another way of saying that. The plot and situations are complex, shall we say, but this is one where like it's already a time loop. If you're going to be reading something, this feels pretty appropriate, but it's also got beautiful language, and it's confusing on first pass, so I'd be interested what a second pass does. Next is my second favorite book of last year, Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This is, of her 2-3 books that she has now, this is my favorite. And I think that it bears a lot of examination. It's about this family and the complex dynamics between all of them. And I think that this is something that you could really dive deep into. These feel like very fleshed out characters that I know and love and want to keep with me forever. I should have lumped these last 3 into books that make me cry uncontrollably, because this is definitely one of them. And another one is Today I Am Carrie by Martin L. Schumacher. This is about a robot named Carrie learning to love this family that he's caring for, and it wrecked me. It does a bit of a generational thing where he's babysitting, caring for this child, and she eventually grows into an adult and has her own kids, and it's so touching having him learn to love, and it's my favorite. And then finally we have what I do traditionally consider my favorite book of all time, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, another one that makes me sob uncontrollably. I have 2 copies of this book actually, but I picked this one because this is actually an ARC. I did not receive an ARC of this. I found it in a little free library, but I just think that that's so cool to have a copy of my favorite book before it was my favorite book. And this is obviously the superior cover to the other paperback one, because paperbacks generally, I'm team paperback. No explanation needed for this. Woman has 7 husbands, cry uncontrollably, and I think I've never reread this, but I have utmost faith that the day that I do, it will be incredible. I should try to hold all of these now, shouldn't I? That seems dangerous. This is the best we're gonna get. They're sitting on my lap. So there you go. These are the 20 books that I could not live without. If I had to get rid of all other 200 books on my shelves, these would be the 20 I would keep. Fiona, you want to come here and say goodbye to the people? Oh, I trick you. I trick you with toys. So anyway, thank you for joining us for this video. Fiona was very happy to be here and does not want to escape. Also, shout out to Chandler for making this. I know she didn't make it a tag, but it's very taggable, and if you do it, tag me, or the other way around. You're tagged. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye!